Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 312 on NCAA Tournament, day one. And so here's the thing. If you're watching live right now, the games haven't tipped off. The dog just jumped on the couch. Look at Dexter in the back there just hanging out. So here's the deal. We're going to bang through this show because I think, to be totally honest, people are focused on the college basketball today. And by happenstance, by dumb luck, the TV show's only a half hour today, which is good because first 2 days of the NCAA tournament, nobody's watching sports TV. They're watching the actual games. So that 30 minutes will be, for friends and family only, essentially. However, today's show, we have good stuff for you. And something happened yesterday, Damonza, that enraged me and probably not in the direction people would think that I'm going to talk about it. So after we do Lakers Nuggets and some NBA from last night, we're going to do that story. But first and foremost, here's what missed the cut. Season 2 of quarterback, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins. It's going to be a weird one. Burrow, amazing year, team stunk. Goff, amazing year, dog walked in round 1. And Cousins playing the role of Marcus Mariota from season 1 of quarterback as himself in season 2 of quarterback, the veteran quarterback who gets benched. So I'm interested how it's going to go. Jalen Milroe runs a 4.37 at his pro day. If he gets drafted higher than projected, he is the first Jalen Hurts quarterback, meaning a guy who's like, man. And now Jalen was a better passer in college, Jalen Hurts, than Jalen Milroe, but leader, has some winning characteristics, tough, but real questions as a passer. That was Jalen Hurts. He slid to the second round. Milroe's projected to go second and third. Wonder if he goes higher. Kyle Hamilton had a take on White Lotus. I am not equipped to discuss the last White Lotus episode. He said, does anything ever happen in White Lotus? Do people just watch it to say next episode going to be crazy? If you did not think the last episode of White Lotus involved two of the most bananas scenes in the last decade of American television, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not saying it's great TV. I like it, but people can dislike it if they want. But there were two scenes in White Lotus this past week. I've never seen anything like it on television or in life. Also, the Celtics just sold for $6.1 billion to Bill Chisholm. That is the aftershocks of the Celtics going for $6 billion. Like, that stupid meme about the little tiny domino and then it goes to the giant domino. It's like this led to this. There is a version of that meme where the first domino is the Celtics sale and the last domino is a competing professional basketball league backed by foreign, mostly Saudi money that LeBron James is a piece of. I'm not saying that's going to happen. What I am saying is, if the Celtics are worth $6 billion, if the franchise fee for the expansion team LeBron wants is going to be $6 billion, if that all happens and it just gets too expensive, is there a world where what LeBron's partner Maverick has been kind of publicly flirting with, a competing league where LeBron's a part of that? Maybe. But speaking of LeBron, he didn't play yesterday. Neither did Jokic. Seems like a totally fair fight under those circumstances. I wonder who won Lakers Nuggets. Damonza, take it away.
Yeah, so funny. Luka actually came out and said that any team that has Jokic is always going to be dangerous. But like you just said, Jokic and Murray didn't play, so Luka lit them up. LA cruised to that W. He's looking really good. He's also had his 30th point game in the month of March. What do you think about the Nuggets resting their guys again, though?
So listen, Joker plays as much as anybody. Michael Malone was correct that Joker's played, I think, the second most games of any player in the last decade. So I'm not going to kill him for it. I'm not certain exactly why Jamal Murray couldn't play. Maybe because Jamal Murray without Nikola Jokic, doesn't quite look like the Jamal Murray that a lot of folks like to believe he can be. I will say this. The Nuggets are no longer a bad matchup for the Lakers. The Lakers are a bad matchup for the Nuggets. And that's with or without Joker. And there's multiple reasons for this. I understand Daniel, our producer, saying Jamal was hurt last game too. I get it, man. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. Does anybody think that if this were a playoff game, Jokic and Murray wouldn't have played? Of course not. They're not that injured, but that's totally fine. You want them to be rested and healthy. You'd prefer it not happen on a national TV game. You'd prefer it not have to happen in back-to-back games. But it is what it is, so to speak. Like, you deal with it and you move forward. I think a lot of people assumed that the Nuggets, because they rested those guys or they didn't play against the Warriors, that they would play in the next game, but whatever. I'm not going to kill them for that. What I am going to talk about is if this is a playoff matchup, it favors the Lakers heavily. Because here is the thing. The Lakers scored 120 last night, could have scored 140. And I said it on the TV show. I will say it again with this question. In the playoffs, if you get Lakers Nuggets, if Aaron Gordon is primarily matched up on LeBron, who is guarding Luka? They tried some Peyton Watson last night. How'd that work? Luka had 20 before you turned the game on. And okay, no. Aaron Gordon's going to guard Luka. Then who is guarding LeBron? It ain't Michael Porter Jr. and his bad back. It ain't Russell Westbrook. It certainly ain't Christian Brown. Who are we talking about? Konkar? He ain't doing it. Gonna dust off Dario Saric? He ain't doing it. It's certainly not the two guys who were missing last night in Jokic and Murray. The Nuggets are a bad defensive team at this point. And having Jokic and Murray out doesn't hurt their defense, and the Lakers scored at will without LeBron. Now, the Lakers, I think, are going to actually end up being the best offense in the league. And you're starting to see it. Where they are generating so many great looks from three. So many wide open threes. And that's without LeBron on the court. And here's the other thing about the Lakers-Nuggets matchup. The best thing the Nuggets had going for them in these playoff matchups is Joker. No question. The second best thing they had going for him was D'Angelo Russell minutes. And the third best thing they had going for him was Darvin Ham's coaching. Which is why there was nobody that was a bigger Darvin Ham defender than Michael Malone. Michael Malone out there defending Darvin Ham like Darvin Ham owes him money and he needs him to stay employed to get it. He's like, this is unfair. That guy took him to the conference final. This is an outrage. And Michael Malone, now all of a sudden, Lakers got a real coach. And by the way, are we done with that, Damonza? I haven't checked the scoreboard. Is JJ Redick now just Lakers head coach, or is he still, LeBron's podcast buddy? Or now that everybody knows he's a great coach, are we just saying, no, he's a Lakers head coach? Because I know if he wasn't a great coach, it would be LeBron's podcast buddy. It'd be like, I'm not sure the exact rule. Right. I'm not sure about the rules of any of this stuff. What I do know is this. The Nuggets are in real trouble, and the Lakers are real dangerous.
You don't think the Nuggets are just like resting their guys strategically? Like the same thing Golden State did with Steph Curry? Like bigger picture.
I think that's a game they wanted to win. You're fighting for seeding. I don't... Right now, the Western Conference standings go like this. Oklahoma City has locked the 1 seed. It's so bananas. They have locked up I guess technically their magic number for locking up the 1 seed is 1 game with 15 or however many 13 games remaining. They have 57 wins. No one else in the conference can get to 58. So Oklahoma City's locked. And then it gets interesting. The Rockets have 25 losses. The Lakers have 25 losses. The Nuggets have 26. The Grizzlies have 27. The Warriors have 29. Clippers 30. Timberwolves 31. So 4, 5, 6, or I'm sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 games apart, 2, 3, 4, 1 loss apart. And I don't think the Nuggets want to give these games away.
Right.
Say it again.
It would be in their best interest being one game. I mean, they were tied before last night, and then now the
absolutely.
Lakers are,
yeah. And the other piece of it is because of with a win yesterday, they would have locked up the season series 3-1, which would have given them the head-to-head tiebreaker if they finished with the same record. Now it's 2-2, so I'm not even sure what tiebreaker it goes to. Now the Nuggets they get Portland next, then Houston, Chicago. Like, I'm just looking at their easy, tough games. I think when we went to Tankathon before, and we checked it, I thought the Nuggets were league average, essentially, remaining strength of schedule. They have it's a little tougher than league average. They have the 11th hardest strength of schedule left. The Lakers, by the way, have the 3rd hardest strength of schedule left. Houston, 10th hardest. I'm just doing the teams fighting for this seed. Memphis, 7th hardest. Golden State with the easiest of the group with the 18th hardest. So, but here's the other piece of it for the Lakers. As I said the other day, you can now kind of definitively say, even though they lost those first 3 without LeBron, they have survived his injury. I said if you miss 10 games, going 6-4 would be a great result. And 6-4 is now very on the board, and I don't know that he's going to miss 4 more. But the Lakers are 3-3, lost to Brooklyn, bad loss, lost to Milwaukee, lost to Denver in what would have been an unbelievable win when Denver had all its guys and the Lakers without 6 of their top 8. And then blew out Phoenix, blew out San Antonio, blew out Denver. And now the next 4, home for Milwaukee tonight, home for Chicago, at Orlando, at Indiana. Can you go 3-1 in those 4? You should be able to, even if LeBron's not back. And that's the other piece of last night, the blowout being awesome. Luka only played 32 minutes. Reeves probably played a little more than he needed to, but so be it. And so the Lakers are really well positioned. Houston keeps winning. Houston, to their credit, has really taken advantage of the absolute softest stretch of their schedule imaginable, and they have one more soft game Friday against Miami. But their schedule during this winning streak has been the following teams for Houston: New Orleans, Orlando, Phoenix, Dallas, Chicago, Philly, Orlando. So those are some of the worst teams in the league, plus Orlando, which has been really bad for months, and Phoenix, which hates itself. And now you have Miami, and then it gets way tougher for Houston. Because after Miami, Houston goes Denver, Atlanta, Utah, Phoenix, Lakers, Utah, OKC, Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, Denver. What a final stretch for Houston. Final 5 games. OKC, Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, Denver. I wonder what OKC is going to do down the stretch, because they will have locked up the 1 seed. And with the Cavs losing all of a sudden as of late, they're going to be in a good position for the number 1 overall seed. But I expect Houston to drop back, and I think the Lakers got a real shot at the 2. A real shot at the 2. And so I think, and Daniel tells me LA has the tiebreaker because they win their division. Oh, the stupid divisions are the next tiebreaker? Oh, well, then last night's game was even bigger for Denver. Because now if they finish with the same record, Lakers have the tiebreaker. That's noteworthy. That's really, really noteworthy. All right, what are the follow-ups here, pal?
Who do you think needs to adjust more when LeBron does come back? Because, Luka's obviously getting into a groove. So Luka.
Oh, LeBron can do more different things. LeBron can play so many different ways. So it wouldn't make sense to ask Luka to adjust because Luka's not going to be great at other things. LeBron can be great at playing almost any style of offensive basketball. So LeBron should and will. And so that to me is not even a concern. And one of the benefits, Damonza, to having every single statistical record in NBA history already accomplished, you don't have to worry about your stats as much. When you already have all the records, you already have all the All-NBAs, all the points, all of that, you don't really have to necessarily put that first and foremost in your mind. Now, I will tell you this. A sneaky stat that LeBron cares about that is such a silly one.
Is it the double digit?
What? Oh, well, no. That one's not sneaky. That one's definitive. The 1,300 straight games of at least 10 points. But he doesn't have to try to get that one. It's that he has averaged at least 25 points per game to the 10th of a point in every single year of his career except for his rookie season. 21 straight years. And the reason I know he cares about it is a few years ago, post-ankle injury, going into the final game of the year, he needed a bucket. I think he knew the exact amount of points he needed, and he needed a bucket late and went and got it. So he finished that year averaging 25.000. Right now, this moment, LeBron has played 58 games and has scored 1,450 points. So let's just do the math on that. 1,450 divided by 58, that is 25.00000. So here's the point I'm making. I do think LeBron will want to make sure when he comes back, he's still getting 25 a night. I haven't talked to him, but I think that is a sneaky one that he would be annoyed if he missed it by a couple 100ths of a point. So
yeah, but even with him having to make the adjustments with Luka, like him getting 25 points isn't like a stretch. Like I don't think that's like going to be hard to do even with his new role.
I actually think his scoring might go up with the new role because I think his assists will plummet and scoring go up a bit and rebounding go up a lot. That's what I would anticipate is going to happen here. All right, other side of the trade.
So Anthony Davis, Tim McMahon reported that he wants Anthony Davis to play, but the team doesn't want him to play right now. He said he is steadfast in his determination to want to return this season, maybe as soon as next week, despite the fact there are people within the Mavericks organization that are trying to take him out of it. Do you think Anthony Davis should try to force the issue and play, or
if he's healthy, he should play? They're tied for the
city
10th
of Dallas.
Seed. Yeah, and listen, they're tied for the 10th seed. The team they're tied with, Phoenix, is in open revolt. I know they've won a couple in a row, but you can make the play-in. And if you have even as injured as they are, if you have a healthy Anthony Davis, you're live in the first play-in game against the Kings, and then you see what you are in the next play-in game if you get there against either Golden State, the Clippers, or the Timberwolves. You can't just napalm the entire season like this. And I give Anthony Davis credit for wanting to play. I give him immense credit, to be totally honest, for wanting to play. I think it's the right thing to do. And I think it's... Now, listen. If he is not... if they're like, he really shouldn't play. He's not healthy. But he could force... That's different. But if he is cleared by the doctors, you should let Anthony Davis play.
All
right, let's talk one more Lakers.
After that trade.
What'd you say?
I was saying, after making that trade, I don't think you can mail it in any type of form or fashion.
No.
Whatever you can possibly do, I think you should be going after. Obviously, the fans are in a bad state. But yeah.
And like playoff games are fun. And as upset as the Dallas fans are, and they, does rightfully so are, they would get hyped up for a play-in game or, to potentially, like, that would be fun. And so you got to, if he's healthy, you got to let him play. The guy's played 25 minutes for you since the trade.
Yeah.
And so you got to at least let the fans have some type of hope for next year. Like Anthony Davis comes back and looks good, something. Right. All right, let's go to the other Lakers stuff.
Yeah, so since it was a blowout, Luka got a lot of rest at the end of that Lakers game. So now they got the Bucks, who just lost to a curryless Warriors. Who would you have in that game?
Tonight? So here's the thing. Doc had that meeting with Giannis and Dame. I am legitimately not just worried about the Bucks. I'm ready to say the Bucks are done as a contender. I had been holding on hope for them because of how good Giannis is, but these are some bad losses, man. The losing to Orlando, which started this 5-7, not being competitive against OKC, losing to Golden State without Curry. The only time they've looked really good, in the last couple weeks was against the Lakers when Luka still scored. What did Luka score in that game? 45? Luka scored 45 and the Bucks still blew the Lakers out. And so the Bucks should win tonight. The Lakers are on a back-to-back. The Lakers kind of knew what they needed was a split with Milwaukee and Denver. They got the benefit of Denver resting their guys. But at this point, you can't be shocked any game the Bucks lose because they just seem disjointed and they seem like a team that cannot survive anything but an excellent game from Giannis. So, and I think this kind of speaks to the situation the Bucks find themselves in. The Lakers are on a back-to-back. LeBron is not playing. The Bucks are desperate. And it's a 3.5-point line. So the Bucks should win, but the Bucks right now are just an okay team with an all-time great player. And
Giannis needs to get back to just driving to the cup. Stop shooting.
Well, I mean, Giannis has been unbelievable this year.
Yeah, he's been good.
Giannis is like 30 a game on 60%. Like, Giannis's numbers this season: 30, 12, and 6 on 60% from the field. I mean, he really has been great. The rest of the team just hasn't been there. It would be a great win for the Lakers tonight, but you've gotta think that the Bucks get this one, and then we get another update after tonight about LeBron's health and the next time we're going to see him. What's your follow-up here?
What do you think about Draymond saying that he 1,000,000% has a case to win Defensive Player of the Year after his performance against Milwaukee?
Listen, he was unbelievable against Giannis. And Draymond probably does have a case for Defensive Player of the Year. Listen, I have to segment I almost have to segment my Draymond opinions into 3 buckets in my brain. Bucket 1 is this. I think Draymond Green is one of the greatest defensive players ever. I do think that on the pre and post KD Warriors, Draymond, not Klay Thompson, was the second most important player, and I don't really think it's that arguable. I think he unlocked so many things they could do, and I also am on the record from years ago that those Defensive Player of the Year awards Kawhi Leonard won, I think Draymond Green should have won. And so I think Draymond should have 3 already. And I do think he is a legendary all-time defensive player. That's bucket 1 in my brain. Bucket 2 of my brain is this. Every single person that I am tight with that has a personal non-basketball relationship with Draymond Green talks about him like he is one of the best dudes in the world. And I have to give him credit for that. The third bucket of my brain is that, man, oh man, he just strikes me as a really bad guy. And the Karl Anthony Towns stuff from this weekend, I thought was outrageous. I thought him, Mr. New Media, and we don't, as the dog is back there, we don't need to make this a social breakout clip or anything, but I just want to get on the record on this. Mr. New Media being like, talking about one of the problems with old media was not getting the real story, going with anonymous sources, getting stuff wrong, and then putting out there Karl Anthony Towns. You know, people are saying, I'm hearing he was scared of playing Jimmy when Karl missed the game because he was at a funeral. He's then confronted with that. For some reason, thinks he's above apologizing. Baron Davis, who was on the other side of that conversation, immediately apologized. And then uses it as a way to promote the Draymond Green show. And then, when he does play really well against Karl Anthony Towns and the Knicks over the weekend, takes a victory lap about the whole interaction when he was dead ass wrong. That's shitty. That's a bad... So like Draymond Green, one of the greatest defensive players I've ever seen. And I actually think should have more Defensive Players of the Year awards. Draymond Green, when it comes... The Draymond Green that's not an NBA guy or a podcast host. Everyone I know that knows him loves him and swears by him. Draymond Green, the basketball player / basketball media guy, when I say basketball player, I don't mean quality of player, but how he acts on the court at times and the way he, talks about guys, all those things. Just all of the things I typically dislike in an athlete. So it's a complicated thing. And
that part's not, that thing that just happens not complicated at all. Like that thing with Karl Anthony Towns, the show must go on. This is the weirdest thing ever, in my opinion. I didn't like it at all.
I 1000% agree with you. I totally agree. That is not a complicated thing. Draymond was dead ass wrong, didn't want to admit to it, and has a weird thing that not just he, but a lot of men have, which is saying, my bad, I was wrong, is like a sign of weakness when it's not. And so I totally agree, Damonza, that's not a complicated thing. The point I'm making is squaring how he appears to be when he's not almost playing the character of Draymond Green with that. That's what's complicated. It's easier when, you know what I mean, guys have a consistent personality. Like, oh, that dude's just a bad guy at all times. Or that guy's just and so that's not the case here. And so that kind of just is what it is, so to speak. There's also something that's not complicated, but it's going to sound complicated. And it's what happened with Jackie Robinson yesterday. And we will do that in a moment. But first, when it comes to college basketball and March Mania, one thing's for sure. Nothing is for sure. Upsets, buzzer beaters, Cinderella's advancing, top seeds going home early. It's all going to happen. Bet the unexpected, every upset, every day with DraftKings Sportsbook. With live betting, exclusive content, promos, and parlays, DraftKings is the ultimate college basketball destination for March. Ready to make your first bet? Check out the matchups and pick a team to win. It's that simple. Told you guys the other day, I'll tell you again. My personal favorite for today, for the beginning of the tournament, Tennessee laying the wood, 18.5 against Wofford, and a nice little flyer, a little taste on Tennessee at 22-1 to win the national championship. Maybe, finally, possibly, Rick Barnes has a great NCAAs. All right, first time, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Guys, Bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code WRIGHT. That's my last name, WRIGHT. That's code WRIGHT for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Okay. So, here is the deal for what we're going to do over the next few minutes. And this is kind of a production note as well to our people. Once I get into this, I want this to be a standalone YouTube video, and I want it to be in full posted to our socials. And I am asking the audience who's watching now, please do not get in arguments in the comments about it. It's not worth your time. I know that might be a fool's errand to ask, but let people yell into the void. Because I need to get something on the record here. Because, and the segment kind of starts now. Folks are far too often fighting on enemy ground and ceding the wrong territory. So this is going to be a winding road, but follow me down it. So once upon a time, I really thought that when I was done with sports, I would go into politics. My wife has since kind of convinced me she's not really into that, doesn't think it would be fun to be in that world. And as it turns out, my dear friend from high school, Quentin Lucas, beat me to it as being the mayor of Kansas City, so that's not even cool anymore. And if I wanted to go for the very top of the top, it looks like, hey, would there ever be a sports guy who thought about running for president? Well, it turns out I wouldn't be the first to consider that either. So you know what? I don't think I'm going to run for office, but what I might do one day is open a consulting business that teaches folks how to frame and have arguments. Because far, far too often, what happens is folks who have my political leanings cede the ground on definitions and meanings of things to intellectually dishonest charlatans, and then we have arguments based on their terms. And that has happened, and we just saw it happen in real time with DEI. So, here is where we're at. Jackie Robinson, before he broke the color barrier, was in the U.S. military. There was a story about him on the U.S. government website. It got deleted. It then was reposted, and DEI was in the URL. Jeff Passan made a huge fuss about it. Shout out to Jeff. They have since fixed it and restored it. And this is what folks who are on the right side, the correct side of Jackie Robinson have been saying. Calling Jackie Robinson a DEI hire is insulting. And everyone who agrees with me politically was saying that. And that's why we lose arguments. Because we have just ceded the ground that, oh yeah, DEI is bad. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. What that means is people who didn't deserve a job got one. And don't you dare call Jackie Robinson DEI, because he wasn't. He deserved it. But what people don't see is that's how the bad actors win. is by reframing definitions, because a DEI hire is not someone who did not deserve the job who got it. That's just what they have claimed it is. And now folks are like, you can't call Jackie Robinson DEI hire. It's insulting. Guys, in Major League Baseball, Jackie Robinson was the definition of a DEI hire, and that's why we need it. Was he awesome? Yes. Was he deserving? Yes. Was he blocked because of his race? Yes. And so it is not an insult. Now, this whole thing, it was the Department of Defense. It wasn't a DEI military, but set it aside. It is incumbent that we not cede ground and that we instead say, let's have the actual argument. And the actual argument is the reason DEI policies came to exist was not to elevate undeserving people. It was to make sure deserving people of all colors, creeds, genders, ethnicities had a shot. And the conversation that we should be forcing is the following. If we are going to act like DEI is this awful buzzword, that pre-DEI things were a meritocracy, true and clear, and that's how it should be, pick the industry, pick the data set, and go out there and argue, folks on the other side, that it was that when, and I'll give you the actual data, that when 50 years ago, 500 of 500 Fortune 500 CEOs were white guys, that was a meritocracy. And 15 years ago, when 450 of Fortune 500 CEOs were white guys, that was a meritocracy. And 4 years ago, when there were 4 black Fortune 500 CEOs, that was actually when we were doing it all by merit. And now that thanks to the scourge of DEI, that 4 has doubled in 4 years up to 8. That, you know what? All the white guys who got the jobs deserved them. That was merit. And the black people or women or whomever got them, they were the undeserving. If that's the argument, make them make it. When you look at our politicians, fun fact, how many governors in U.S. history have been black? The answer to that question is 5. Kind of 6, but 1 during Reconstruction, would have been 1 more during Reconstruction, but that fella got, died suddenly in his office due to a suspicious poisoning. Can't quite figure out what happened there. So 4 black governors since Reconstruction. Was that all merit? Was that, listen, it just as it happened, was never a good black gubernatorial candidate. What about this one? Pre-Barack Obama in Illinois in 2005, there had been around 2,000 United States senators in our history. Pre-2005. How many were black? Quick question. The answer to that is 4. 2 during Reconstruction 160 years ago, or 150 years ago, and 2 post-Reconstruction since Obama. You add it all up, all of history from the start of the U.S. Senate to right now, this moment, there have been 14 black U.S. senators, 11 elected, 3 appointed. So again, if your argument is, when the numbers were literally 98-2, white guy to everyone else. That's when we had a merit-based system. And now that the numbers are slightly going towards the actual demographics of the country, that's all bullshit, elevating undeserving people. Then make that argument. And folks who are saying amen to what I'm saying, make them make that argument. What you can't do is act offended when people are like, oh, you're calling Jackie Robinson a DEI hire. You're goddamn right he was. A great example of it, of why they are important policies. Because you had a guy as great at what he did, playing baseball, as Jackie Robinson, who was blocked entirely because of his race. And then the DEI policies of the day gave him a shot. And it's like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. That's the idea behind it. And you're not going to win arguments if you only have them on other people's terms. Stand firm and say, here are the numbers. Here is how disproportionate in every industry, in every position of power, in every political sphere, white males are. Is that because, in your opinion, because they are simply smarter, more equipped, savvier, all of it? If that's what you believe, if that's what they believe, make them argue that. If they won't say that's what they believe, then ask them, so how do we fix that? What are the policies one would have to implement to make sure we're actually getting the best and the brightest? Instead, we've let them turn DEI into a slur, a buzzword, meaning it's synonymous for unqualified doofus that gets a job, and tar any black person or minority who has a big-time job as that. And so, obviously, the asshole at the Department of Defense that took down Jackie Robinson's page everyone can agree that guy's the worst. That's an easy conversation. A far more serious conversation is, yeah, Jackie Robinson in Major League Baseball was a DEI hire. And that's why such policies need to exist, and that's why we'll defend them. Or it's just the craziest coincidence in the world. All of the deserving people for all of the big-time jobs, the ones who actually got it on merit, all of them just look like me. Wonder how that one worked out. Hey guys, got another thing to tell you about. My friends at Daya. This episode of What's Right is brought to you by Daya Pizza, featuring dairy-free cheese made with their new Daya Oat Cream Blend. Dairy-free cheese has come a long way, and Daya is leading the charge. Their pizzas offer the melt and stretch of traditional cheese without any dairy. Each Daya pizza starts with a perfectly crisp crust, layered with savory toppings, and finished with cheese that melts and stretches beautifully. The Daya Oat Cream Blend delivers a creamy, cheesy texture that's indistinguishable from dairy-based options. Every pizza is crafted to be dairy-free, making it a great choice for anyone seeking more inclusive meal options without compromising on taste. Daya takes the concept of dairy-free to a new level, eliminating faux moo. That is not the fear of cows, that is the fear of missing dairy. These pizzas deliver delicious taste and texture, making them perfect for any occasion, from casual dinners to game day spreads. Enjoy a faux moo-free pizza night with Daya. Visit DayaFoods.com for more information, or find Daya Pizza at retailers like Whole Foods, Kroger, and Walmart. Coming soon to select Publix and Sprouts. Follow Daya on Instagram and TikTok for more updates and recipes. All right, Damonza, let's turn to the Cavs a bit and then do some Viking stuff, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, so after winning 16 straight games, the Cavs have now lost 2 back-to-backs or back-to-back games. One of those games came to the Clippers team that doesn't even have a coach. How many more losses do the Cavs need to take before it's time to hit that alarm?
Well, now it's 3 straight now, and that's their first 3-game losing streak of the season. And so here's the thing. Now, Donovan missed some time, but you were seeing the Cavs be a little creaky, really, since the beginning of the month. So they had that great win in Boston, but they were down 25-3 to start it. They then needed overtime to beat Portland. They then had a squeaker, and I think it was a big comeback. No, not necessarily a big comeback, but a squeaker against Miami. They then had a 1-point win where they did have to rally to come back to beat Charlotte. They then had, again, another one where they needed a furious comeback to beat the Nets. And now they've lost 3 straight to Orlando, the Clippers, and Sacramento. Now, some of that, I'm sure, is we've locked up the 1 seed, essentially. We're fine. And they're only 6 up on Boston, but Boston ain't catching them. They have 13 games left, and they have a 6-game lead. So, like, even if Boston went undefeated the rest of the way, Damonza, the Cavs would only have to win 7 games. And so the Cavs are going to be the 1 seed. Now, they might have squandered the number 1 overall seed, which would matter if it's Cavs Thunder in the finals. Here's where I stand on the Cavs. I think they have the 4th best team. And maybe that seems unfair, but the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Lakers, I would pick all of them in a series against the Cavs, and I'd feel pretty good about it. And so that, you know what I mean? That just, it is what it is, so to speak. I don't think the Cavs, a week ago, were flirting with 70 wins. That felt a little rich. And now they're still going to win. So if they're 56-13, let's say they lose 4 more. That still means they're going to win. Did I do the math wrong on how many games they have? They lose. That still would mean they win 65 games, which is an unbelievable season. But I do think they're the 4th best team. All right, let's talk some NFL.
So Minnesota is out on Aaron Rodgers. He got that news and did not immediately retire. I know there were talks of him potentially doing that. So the Giants and the Steelers, they're still looking out for him. Yeah, what's your...
Yeah. So where I stand on it,
yeah.
Good job by the Vikings. I listen, the Vikings, I think, are going to end up, if they need an insurance policy, the insurance policy will be Kirk Cousins. And I don't think it'll be Rodgers. I think that the Steelers need to give Aaron a deadline. And I don't know that they have the temerity to do it, but the analysis people had on the Steelers, why it might work is, well, he's not going to come in there and run the show like he did with the Jets. Well, he certainly will if he seizes power before he even gets there by making them wait the entirety of the offseason. And so I think that the Giants should just go ahead and sign Russell Wilson. I think the Steelers should give Aaron a deadline because Aaron's going to end up with the Steelers. It seems very clear Aaron is going to end up with the Steelers, and they should re-seize the power back, or else he's going to come in there and just do whatever the hell he wants.
What's he thinking about, man?
He's thinking about what's best for Aaron Rodgers. That if I don't sign with Pittsburgh until after the draft, maybe they are less likely to take a flyer on a quarterback with their first-round pick, and therefore I don't have to worry about being supplanted at some point. That's what I think. I think it's the only way he can impact their draft is by making them wait.
Screwing the team over either way.
I don't know why teams want to be in the Aaron Rodgers business at this point in time, but that is a lot. People have heard me talk about that enough. Let's talk about the NFL rule changes.
Yeah, so some new NFL rule proposals, which will be voted on at the league meeting. So first off, we got Detroit. They propose changes to playoff seeding and holding penalties. Philly wants to bring the playoff overtime rules to the regular season. And Green Bay officially proposed banning the tush push. You always said you've hated that play.
Yeah.
Do you see any of these passing or going through?
No, not right now. So here's the deal. At some point, the NFL is going to get rid of the tush push. They can't do it when the Eagles are the defending champs. You can't give the Eagles lifelong bragging rights of, we'd have never lost. You can get rid of the tush push after the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl. So they could have done it a year ago, or they could do it a year from now. But I don't want to hear these Philly fans for the rest of my life saying, the way, because you still hear Patriot fans, Mangini brought it up on the show, Patriot fans who say, the Colts couldn't beat us, so they changed the illegal contact rules because of that. And that's kind of true, but don't change the rules that the defending champs are the defending champs. This is their play. And I know eventually they're going to get rid of it. And I've said it once. I'll say it 100 times. They're going to get rid of it for two reasons. And it's not player safety and it's not pace of play. The first reason is it's an ugly, boring play and it's bad for TV. And the second reason is this. What if the Eagles got so good at it, instead of getting 2 yards when they did it, they got 4? And first game of the 2025 season, this is an allowable play. First play, 1st and 10 from their own 30 after a touchback, and they line up in the tush push. And the announcer's like, the hell are they doing?
Wear their team down.
And maybe, but I'm saying, if they got so good at it that you could just do a drive of tush pushes, they would have to change the rules mid-season. They'd have to be like, no, this is out. So you can't put yourself in that jeopardy as a league. Now, I like illegal contact and defensive holding not being automatic first downs. I wish that rule would change. There is nothing more frustrating as a fan than it's 3rd and 13 and there's an illegal contact and the other team gets a first down because
and then especially when it doesn't even affect the actual play.
Correct. So I would like that. I don't think they'll change it. I do not like the idea that you can get a home playoff game without winning your division. I used to like that idea. I've changed my mind. I like there to be a premium on winning your division. And no, I don't see any of these passing. All right, last one before we go.
So the headliner of March Madness last year was Caitlin Clark. Do you think that anybody will be able to outshadow that or even come close to it this year?
No, and I'm bummed that the women's tournament put Paige and Juju in the same region. Now, the upside to that is it basically guarantees we get a Paige Juju game in the Elite Eight. I would have rather them be on the same side of the bracket and that we, run the risk of one of them getting bounced early, but we get them in the Final Four. But Juju is a star, and Paige is unbelievable. And by the way, neither one might be on the best team. UCLA or South Carolina might be the best team. So on the women's side, Paige and Juju should be great. On the men's side, it's going to be Cooper Flagg and this Duke team that is the rightful huge favorite. I saw a mock draft the other day that had 3 of the top 7 picks are players on this Duke team. So that gives you an idea of how good that team actually is. All right, reminder, like, rate, subscribe, review. Please do that. It helps us out more than you could possibly imagine. Go to Scott's question, Damonza.
Okay. Scott says, it's time to try to quit smoking. What patch do you recommend? I need the strongest one possible. Thanks.
So unpaid endorsement. The generic Target brand Step 1 nicotine patch clear is the best one. And now, yeah. Now I don't know, so here it's hard to phase down, but if you get on a schedule of putting on that phase 1 Target nicotine patch first thing in the morning, you'll kind of get that same rush you do from a morning cigarette, and it really will last all day. And I also strong recommend that in the beginning phase of this trying to quit smoking, the first week or so, don't drink. Because anybody that smokes, you get an extra, even stronger than the nicotine patch, craving for a cigarette when you've been drinking. So get yourself used to the nicotine patch. That would be my recommendation. Go to Trey.
Trey says, Trey says, Nick, best vacation advice at all inclusive in Costa Rica. Matt, turn off YouTube.
Oh, no, don't worry. So here is, I don't know if Trey was trying to tell Matt to turn off YouTube. I don't know. I am not an all-inclusive fan. And there's two reasons for that. One is, one of my favorite parts about traveling is eating. And typically the food at all-inclusive places is mediocre. You know what I mean? Because that's one piece. The other piece is this. It almost forces you psychologically into drinking more than you want to. Because it's like, well, I paid for it already. It's free. Like, you feel like in order to get your money's worth, you need to be hammered by noon. And then, I'm a bigger proponent of stay somewhere nice and buy liquor either at the airport or, off the resort, and keep it in your room, whatever it is. So if you do want, listen, if you're vacationing and with friends or whatever and want to really get hammered, more power to you. But you don't necessarily have to do it at the hotel bar or at those things. As far as my favorite place in the Caribbean, the only place in the Caribbean that I've gone to that 100% of the time has perfect weather and the beaches are as beautiful as anywhere, and it's such a small island, you can see everything you want to see, is Aruba. There are portions of the island that have become almost like Orlando, but with nicer beaches, just super kind of like tacky Americanized. But there are other portions of the island that are just unbelievable. But I had a great time in Costa Rica, and there's not really a bad. One other thing, St. Martin for food is great because there's a French side and a Dutch side. The Dutch side's kind of more fun. The French side's fancier and better food. And if you go to Grand Cayman, it sounds like the most touristy, silly thing there is. But the swimming with the stingrays in Grand Cayman is you did that, Damonza. You were there with us when we...
That was turtles. They weren't turtles? There were stingrays and turtles?
There were turtles, but when we took the boat
scared as shit.
and got...
Or really scared.
No, but whatever it was.
No. Okay, I was thinking of like the pool. I don't know where we did that with the turtles. The stingrays was out in the actual ocean. I remember. In the ocean.
Yeah. That is actually better than advertised.
Yeah.
It's like a really, really, truly elite. I cannot speak highly enough about that. And one other little vacation tip. Okay. This is one of my things my family does. So we very often do an Airbnb instead of a hotel because we have so many people and because we want to be able to cook some of our own meals or whatever. I'm a big Airbnb guy if it's the whole crew. But the kids obviously like hotel pools and like resort style pools and stuff like that. So, pro tip that I think you're shaking your head. I don't even think this is against the rules. I think it's in the gray area. Make a reservation early in the afternoon for your whole group for lunch at the nicest outdoor restaurant at whatever hotel or resort you think your kids would like the pool the most. Get there, immediately order a full round of drinks, a bunch of appetizers, and make it clear you're going to spend money. And then, while the adults are drinking, snacking on the appetizers and eating, let the kids then go run and, do the water slides, play in the pool or whatever. They won't give you a hard time because you're not a hotel guest, because you are spending money and you're eating, but that way you're not just tied to that location. And then the other thing is, again, if they really, really like it, what you do is you leave a really big tip, become friendly with the hotel staff. And then if you want to go back and maybe not order quite as much food, whatever it is, they usually will take care of you.
100%
so that's
success rate so far.
I'm pretty good at that. And again, I'm not like trying to get over or be cheap. I just, little kids like meeting other little kids on vacation. Not going to be able to do that at the Airbnb. And so, I was about
to say, I appreciate you getting me to that pool that I was looking for.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah. This is less for Damonza. It's more for Deanna, but still. When Damonza was Deanna's age, we took a bunch of water vacations to Cocoa Keys in Kansas City, an indoor water park, and to Schlitterbahn in Texas.
Schlitterbahn my favorite.
Big place.
To this day.
Yeah, we take different vacations now. We used to go, we'd be like, hey, we're driving to Galveston for the weekend. And that was fun. We had a great time, but it's a little different now. All right. Good luck in your March Madness pools. Fun show. Good job, everybody. Like, rate, subscribe, review. Help us out. What's right?